Good news, everyone! Jude Bellingham is here. We have a transfer special. There is some bad news. It's happened again. It's happened again. Manchester United triggering a release clause. Jamal Musiala, £106 million. Somehow I feel like I've got a bad deal there. Yeah, it's going to be a busy summer, innit? Yes, folks, welcome back to Newcastle. Today is episode number 26. It's the start of season number 4. Yes, that's right. We are 4 years into this save game now. Today is a transfer special. You know the deal by now, I hope. Let's discuss it. Musiala has left the building. £106 million. We knew this day could come. It has come. The only silver lining I really have to this is I think Jude Bellingham is probably a better player who we've signed for £2 million less than what we ultimately sold Musiala for. That said, he is going to be difficult to replace. I might have an alternative to him though. But before we talk about that, you can see in the top corner, the date is July 1st. That means we are into the summer. Things are happening, and things are happening rather quickly. Aaron Hickey is departing to go to Brighton. That is a move that I think makes a lot of sense. We've made a little bit of profit on him, not a great deal, but let's be honest, he didn't play a great deal for us. The reason for moving Hickey on is that we have Andy Harwood, who is currently on loan at FC Copenhagen. I'm going to recall him in the coming weeks. I kind of put a loan back clause in, then realised that actually he wasn't going to join us for 2 years. He's joined us 2 years after we agreed to sign him, gone back on loan. He's actually good enough for our first team now. So he is going to be recalled. Elsewhere, the plan is to bring Peter Poole into the first team fray this year. So with these two youngsters at right back and left back arriving, just didn't really need Hickey. So we've got rid of him for £11 million, but there is more movements happening. We'll talk about the outs first. Mykolenko is about to join Real Madrid for £40 million. He played 18 games for us last year. He is a player who we are going to need to replace. We are going to need a left centre-back / left wing back, I think. We have promoted Bright Ari MB to the first team. He is now homegrown at club, so this is a really useful player to have. It means that Paul Dummett can go and jog on now. Sorry, Paul, but you are not needed. You were here to make up the numbers. The numbers have been made up. So that's a good little addition for us in MB. And you may have noticed on the outs, a couple of other players possibly leaving. There's one that's slightly more significant than the others. That is Nordi Mukiele, who we've accepted a bid of £53 million from AC Milan for. So Musiala's out. Mukiele's on his way out. Mykolenko's out. That's almost £200 million made in sales. Naturally, we have actually got to be spending some money. So where's the money being spent? Who are the replacements? Well, I've kind of already got them planned, I think. But the good thing about these transfers is there's clauses involved, and it means that we are going to have still a lot of money to potentially make a few big name signings between now and the end of the transfer window. The players we're looking to bring in, Kai Havertz is the first. Chelsea finished 6th in the league. Kai is not very happy about that. He wants to be playing Champions League football. Last year, he had a good season. I feel like he's not really been used properly by Chelsea. I see him as the successor to Musiala. Not quite as good when it comes to his flair nor his technical ability, but Kai Havertz is a fantastic player going forward, who's also really, really good in the air. You can see listed as surplus to requirements by Chelsea. That is because he's been trying to force a move. So he would be a really good addition. I am going to have a little bit more of a look around, but there aren't that many world-class centre attacking mids available for kind of this kind of price range. So he's one player we're looking to bring in. And Mukiele's replacement is the player that Mukiele thinks that he is. Wesley Fofana from Leicester. Now, worth noting, I am paying, £95 million total for Fofana, 44 million up front, then another 50 million over a few years. He is phenomenal. The only worry really is that he is slightly injury prone, susceptible to injuries. But compared to Mukiele, he is just a leap ahead. And obviously Mukiele, there's been a saga, let's be honest. He's been asking for £200,000 a week. Why would I give Mukiele 200,000 when I can sign Fofana and give him 200,000? Let me know if I'm making a mistake here. I don't think we are. Fofana is absolutely insane in FM this year. You can see a comparison between the two players at wide centre-back. I guess the only thing that Fofana is really lacking is a crossing ability, but I'm not overly worried about that, to be honest. It's not like Mukiele is getting thousands of assists whipping in balls as a wide centre-back. Ultimately, Fofana, Gvardiol and Tomori, that's quite a good defence, isn't it? I mean, Gvardiol and Fofana, probably two of the best defenders in Football Manager this year, especially when you consider 22 years old, 23 years old. Fofana, once we confirm it, will just be a final piece in the puzzle, I think, to our world-class defence. And it's a defence that really doesn't need to be touched for a decade, which is quite nice to think about, really. So the combined outlay of Fofana and Havertz is only £70 million. So before Mukiele has even departed, we're still going to have £110 million to spend here. The wage budget is perhaps a little bit of a concern. You can see the bank balance is looking very, very healthy. Our committed wage spend is jumping quite a little bit. Havertz and Fofana, they've kind of looked around and seen the salaries that some of our top players are earning, like Jude Bellingham, and they want similar rises. So we are going to have to be wary of that. In terms of what we need in the first team, well, I talked about the fact that we need to replace Mykolenko. I want to get a left centre-back who can play left wing-back. Kind of an upgrade on Mykolenko would be ideal. Elsewhere in the team, really, it's just about what quality can we find and can we add. One thing that I do really, really like about our team right now is that even if Mukiele just left and we didn't sign Fofana and Godfrey came in, there's quite a nice core of English players. And I know this doesn't matter to everyone, but for me personally, I think there's something quite satisfying about succeeding in a nation you're in whilst using domestic players, from that nation. And so when I look at our team right now with our best 11, there is 6 English players. If Fofana comes in, that number will drop to 5, but that's still pretty good by Premier League standards. Really, I would like to sign maybe 1 or 2 English players. I did look at Phil Foden. City wanted a bit too much money for him. That's why we've ended up going for Havertz. But to be honest, it's going to be interesting because the Euros are going on at the moment. So we're going to keep a close eye on that throughout the summer. That may impact the players that are possible to sign. I was having a little look through players with contracts expiring in the next year. And N'Golo Kante would be a fun signing, wouldn't he? I don't know if we really need a replacement to Declan Rice, and I am worried that aged 33 his physicals might drop off. But he is very good. But to be honest, before we go too crazy in the market, I want to make sure that the Mukiele deal goes through. I want to get Fofana and Havertz in. Then we can have a better look at the balance of play, where the squad balance is at, possibly recall Harwood as well at left back. But yeah, expect some pretty wild signings this year. I think we have to go a little bit crazy and try and, off the success of the end of last year, we're trying to win 2 Champions Leagues in a row. I want upgrades. I think we're getting upgrades at the moment, but there's still plenty of time to, add quite a bit more quality to this side. Okay, good news. Kai Havertz is going to sign for us. £100 million the total fee. Only a small fraction of that is coming out of this season's transfer budget, which is really, really nice because it's 25 million up front and then 75 million, I want to say, over the course of, 3 years. Kind of installing payments like that allows me to splash a little bit bigger in the kind of immediate term. Is it a lot of money? Yes. Is Kai Havertz absolutely ridiculous? I think also yes. In terms of how we're going to play him, I think he's going to play as an advanced playmaker on support. But to be honest, with his 16 finishing, there's a temptation to just put him on shadow striker and let him charge forward. The really nice thing about Havertz is he can play a whole host of positions. What it means for our team is, obviously the plan was that Bellingham was going to come into the team, Musiala was going to move higher up the pitch. Obviously, that plan has changed now. We are going to be bringing in Kai Havertz and Almada is going to move to the bench. I really like the upgrades we've got so far. Jude Bellingham and Kai Havertz are just silly in Football Manager. And whilst, yes, they've cost us a pretty penny, they are massive, massive upgrades, I think, on where we were previously. And as much as I like Musiala, I think I might even be a bigger Kai Havertz fan. Is that controversial to say? So that's been a little bit of speculation on Adeyemi. He wants a new contract at the club. He's currently got this release clause of £85 million. Now, I kind of want to offer him a new deal, but we had a breakdown in negotiations because he wanted £250,000 a week. He wanted to be the biggest earner. And with respect to Adeyemi, I think if I got £86 million for him, I could probably replace him. Now, I am tempting fate because Manchester United are interested and we know how much they like our release clauses. But watch the space. That could be a problem if this release clause gets triggered. I say a problem. We could upgrade on him, I think, for £86 million. I don't really want to sell him. I've got that emotional connection. He's okay. I do think we could do better if the opportunity arose. I don't want to sell him, but I'm not worrying about it either, if that makes sense. Okay, some good news. We had a few very late deal offers for Mukiele, but none of them were close to the amount that was offered by Milan. They are going to pay us £53 million all up front. 45 million of that is going to go back into the transfer kitty, which is obviously great. And with that, with the £45 million, we are going to spend that on Fofana. 45 million of it up front, a further 40 million or so coming in over a period of time. We can now ask for confirmation of Fofana. The wheels are in motion, and we can make this happen. 47 million deducted from this season's transfer budget. I'm very, very happy with Wesley Fofana. He is ridiculously good this year, and yes, it's not cheap, but I think he's a massive upgrade on Mukiele, and I'm pretty happy right now with where we're going. So with Fofana, we are going to train him at wide centre-back. I think we will also train his crossing, just so we can try and improve it a little bit. I'm not expecting monumental improvements, but you can see the rest of his game for a complete wing-back is so good. And his jumping reach and heading, I think, are going to be very, very useful on set pieces, which, of course, we already quite enjoy here. So let's get him into the team, shall we? Fofana in, Godfrey out. I mean, that's a very good starting 11. You kind of look at it now and think, where can we actually improve? I guess, is it controversial to suggest that Livakovic is maybe a weak link in the team? Oh, yeah, he's been very, very good over the years. He's been consistent for 3 years. So for £10 million, I feel like we've got our mileage out of him. You can see 29 goals conceded the previous 2 seasons. It is worth noting that Van der Voort has requested a move away from the club. Van der Voort is a player with a load of potential, but I've tried to loan him out for the last 12 months and no one wants him in on loan. I'm hoping that we can maybe get in the region of £20 million for him. If I do, we might need to sign a new backup goalkeeper, or maybe it does open up the opportunity to go out there, spend slightly bigger on a goalkeeper and then move Livakovic down. Not entirely convinced that he's going to be happy being made backup. I mean, should we try it now? This could be needlessly risky. In fact, apparently he won't be upset if I move him to backup. What goalkeeper can we get? Don't know why we're improving the defence, but what goalkeeper can we... who are the best goalkeepers in the world that we can realistically sign? Let's sort them by world reputation here. I mean, apparently these are actually realistic signings as well. We are slightly over the weight. Should we rejig this just to get under the wage budget again? Let's do that. £400,000 free on the wages. Still 121 million to spend. I mean, like Alisson or Edison. I mean, all these players are slightly older. Donnarumma would be tempting, but I can't imagine he's available for sale. Would it be mad to sign the man that we scored 10 goals against the Champions League semi-final? I mean, compared to Livakovic, he's probably the better player. He's probably a pretty decent upgrade. Arsenal, by the way, they're listed as finishing first. They're not first. Last year they finished 5th, so they missed out on Champions League football. I know they've got a few unhappy players, and also they sold Saka for some really significant money, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they did. You can see here they sold Saka for £101 million to Man City. There's actually been some really big transfers happen. Whether or not they're actually going to show here, because like that Saka one, it kind of shows us having happened the previous year. I mean, you can see here, we've made the 2 big signings. If we look back on the previous year, you can see here. So in June, Musiala obviously went to Manchester United. Ansu Fati has signed for Liverpool. That concerns me slightly. There was a temptation to go in for Ansu Fati, but £147 million was mental. I mean, Man City are spending big. United are spending big. Liverpool are spending big. We're spending rather large as well, I suppose. It's shaping up to be a very competitive season at the top. I suppose the only other area of the pitch to look to improve would be the wing-back area. But at the same time, I feel like at 21 years old, I'm relatively happy with Livramento. And then when it comes to Luca Digne, obviously, he's really solid. He's got 37 assists last season in all competitions, I think it was. Was it 37? No, 32 assists. Either way, his set pieces are rather good and quite useful. He is 30. His stock is quite high. There is a small part of me that just wants to offer him out and see if anyone would bid. But at the same time, he's such a weapon in our arsenal with his set pieces. If I lose him, I don't even know if we have the replacement there. Let's have a quick look. Technicals. So corner taking. I mean, Havertz, 12 corner taking. It's not great, is it? Free kick taking, 13 on Havertz. He's got good technique. It is a step down. I don't think there's that many set-piece specialist left-backs out there that we could sign as an alternative. So my scouts alerted me to a youngster who looked good, so I thought we'd scout him a little bit further. This was a while ago. I forgot that I did this, but Martin Johansson is very good. I mean, Borussia Mönchengladbach, Lazio and Atleti are in for him. He is a Danish centre-back with international caps for Denmark. I think I'm going to try and sign him. It would be mental not to, right? Yeah, it would be mental not to. Let's do this. How much do they want? I mean, they've accepted bids, I think, of 1.2 million, so I'm just going to go a little bit higher, 1.5. I kind of want to try and ward away the other teams. He is ridiculous. Apparently, Liverpool are also interested. Man City are interested. He has less interest in joining Arsenal. I'm going to have to offer him a silly amount of money here, aren't I? I am. I'm doing it. You can't stop me. I need to make sure he signs for us and not anyone else. I say a silly amount of money. Relative to us, £23,000 is a drop in the ocean, isn't it? But for a player this good, I'm going to reject the loan back as well. Am I mental thinking he is good enough to be like an actual backup this year? I don't even think I am. I feel like if we have Ben Godfrey, we have Arian B, and then we have him. I mean, how does he compare? How does he compare with Arian B? I suppose this is the logical thing to compare. Arian B will be around by virtue of the fact he's homegrown at club. I mean, he's 18. He is absolutely bonkers. Yeah, we're going to sign him, I think. And for people wondering about how you can find some really good youngsters, I find a really effective set of filters is to set age at most and then just lower it by a year or two at a time, and then international caps at least one. You'll then get a list of players here, all of whom have played international football already at the age of 18 or 19 in this case. As you can see here, Johansen is one of the players who shows up. There's a few other players who I have scouted from this list. Players like Luca Romero, who's actually a real player who looks phenomenal with 9 caps for Mexico. There's also Hussein Al-Enazi, who is a Saudi youngster. He actually looks crazy good. I might have to scout him a little bit more. Apparently he'd be a superb signing for the future. He already has 19 caps at the age of 18, which I think makes him quite good. By default, by the way, I really like to sort players by world reputation. It's not perfect. You'll get some duds in here, but at the same time, it's a pretty effective way of kind of filtering out the good players here from perhaps the slightly less good. And you know what? Whilst we're here, there's not that many players. We're just going to mass scout them all, which you can do by just holding shift and then clicking the top and bottom one, then right-clicking. I know some people ask about that. I know that's obvious to some of you out there, but let's help the little guy. If you didn't know that, please let me know that you didn't know that you can hold shift and select multiple players. Maybe I've changed a life today. Okay, so this is our squad as things stand for the coming year. The current squad size, if we just take a quick little peek, is 25 players. So it's quite a nice number, I suppose. Of course, we are looking at the possibility of bringing in the new kid on the block, Martin Johansson. There are a few other players who are joining us in the not-so-distant future. Players like Junior, just going to go into the youth team. So we don't need to worry about him too much. Johansson probably would come in and be immediate squad depth. So a squad of 26, shall we say? Generally speaking, with a team like this, with some youngsters who are perhaps on the fringes of the team, I would like a squad size between 26 to 28, with all the fixtures we've got going on. I just realised we've talked about the squad. There's literally the squad depth screen, which I've spent 2 seconds to sort out. If you've never seen this screen before, you're missing out. It's under the kind of squad tab, then squad depth. You can then customise it by removing players so you don't have duplicates. And now we have a lovely visualisation of the entire team and where we're at, and you can kind of get a better idea of where the squad depth is. So striking wise, we've got 6 players capable of playing striker, including Havertz, of course. Ransdorf, Yeboah, I mentioned, might move on. As centre attacking mid, Havertz is going to start, but of course Almada is a very, very good backup in that area of the pitch. In centre mid, Ben Godfrey can play there, Zakaria can play there, Almada can play a deeper role. Probably wouldn't ever really play him as the box-to-box midfielder, but in an emergency he could. Whereas in the ball-winning midfielder position, Maybe you play Havertz there, maybe you play Tolisso. To be honest, Zakaria would probably make more sense in the ball-winning midfielder role for us. Right back, we've got Livramento who starts, Mbabu and Peter Paul. Ben Godfrey could be an emergency player there. Left back, obviously, you can see here clearly where there is maybe a bit more of a gap. Worth noting, Livramento can play both right back and left back, so if injuries really kicked in, we can shuffle things around. The more I look at it, the more I realise, actually, maybe I don't need a backup left back quite as much with Livramento's versatility, but I mean, at the same time, I want to give Harwood regular minutes as part of a rotation option. And then when it comes to centre-backs, of course, we've got Gvardiol, Tomori, Fofana, and then there's a few players who can play centre-back who I never really acknowledge can play centre-back. In a real emergency, Declan Rice could probably step in and be a pretty formidable wide centre-back, to be honest. Elsewhere, you've got the likes of Ben Godfrey, of course. Mbabu can slot in at centre-back, Zakaria as well. Even the dinghy himself, if we really, really needed him to, could do a reasonably good job at wide centre-back as long as he isn't having to mark Peter Crouch or a similarly tall forward. So yeah, when I look at this team, goalkeeper, I think, is the obvious thing. Goalkeeper, and then if Adeyemi gets a release clause triggered, a striker. Besides that, maybe a really, really good centre mid who's happy to be on the bench. I mean, how much have we got again? 120. I definitely can make this happen for 121 million. I'm going to go find a goalkeeper. So ideally, we're really looking for a goalkeeper under the age of 26, someone who's going to be in a similar kind of age range to our current centre-backs as part of a golden generation going forward. Alban Lafont is actually a really, really good goalkeeper. Doesn't shine in any one area, but he's a regular player for the French national team. Is it bad that I am seriously considering Aaron Ramsdale at goalkeeper? Is that mental, considering his performance against us last year? He's a consistent performer. He kept a lot of clean sheets in the Premier League in a team that didn't do that well. He enjoys big matches. I mean, he is an upgrade on Livakovic. I don't know if I'd necessarily throw him into that world-class bracket. I suppose the dream scenario would be to go and sign Donnarumma. But I can't imagine there's a way in hell we're ever going to be able to sign him. Let's ask his agent. PSG are unwilling to sell him. He'd want fairly affordable wages. And good news, he would get a work permit. I'm just going to offer 100 million and see what they say. Yeah, I think he's a bit out of our price range. I mean, Sommer's transfer listed, but he's 35. Is there anyone with their contract expiring at the end of the year? Like, I'm not really against going for an older goalkeeper. I just think they're probably going to be expecting quite a big transfer fee. I mean, David De Gea's in the last year of his contract with Manchester United. Am I really losing the plot considering De Gea an option? Or Mendy? I mean, Mendy is pretty good. He's only 32. He's in the last year of his contract. Let's just chat with his agent. What do you think, Mr. Agent? They want 82 to 120 million. For a 32-year-old, not even I can justify that. And you know what? I'm going to scout De Gea. He'd be a good thumbnail signing. I might just put him in the thumbnail anyway. If you've clicked on this video and De Gea was in the thumbnail, you might be sat there thinking, I wonder if he signed him or not. At this point, I don't know, but he's definitely in the thumbnail. So, yeah, don't be tricked. He might be in the thumbnail. That doesn't mean I'm going to sign him. If I'm in the market for a goalkeeper, should probably be trying to sell Van der Voort as well, since he wants out. And he wants out now. When he's third choice, he's definitely going to want out. Am I the only person who kind of outlines what they need and then just goes and looks at who's transfer listed and who might want out and be available for cheap anyway? Is that like exclusively a me issue, or is this a wider problem with Football Manager players? I mean, Rafinha's available for £69 million. I don't really need Rafinha. He's very good in Football Manager this year, but I'm not sure I need a winger, considering how we play. I mean, Diogo Jota's available. He's an interesting player. Can he be a good signing, but he's only a D. I guess with Ansu Fati signing, Liverpool have decided they don't need him anymore. I mean, looking through the players who are transfer listed, I'll be honest, a little underwhelmed. I suppose the other thing to consider is I don't actually have to spend the money that we have. We could save it for deadline day and just go mental with players who are maybe trying to force last-minute moves. Also, for some reason, my recruitment package was not on World. It was on None when I was checking earlier, but our scouting knowledge meant that a lot of players were showing up anyway. It's back on World package now. No one new has shown up. I'm going to mash continue for a bit and weigh up if I really want to sign De Gea or not. Okay, Martin Johansson has accepted our contract offer despite the interest from elsewhere. I think for £1.5 million, we're about to secure ourselves a bargain, assuming he gets a work permit tomorrow, which I would be flabbergasted if he didn't. Apparently Phil Foden is a C- signing. I mean, Phil Foden would be fun, wouldn't he? No idea how he'd fit into the team. Jack, you've just signed Kai Havertz. You don't need Foden. But it would be fun. No, don't do it. Don't be sensible. Okay, Martin Johansson is signing for us 1.6 million, an absolute bargain for the Danish international. Very, very happy about that. He is going to sign for us immediately. Elsewhere, we have bids for Van der Voort. They're not great offers. In fact, they're really bad offers. I think that they are actually bidding less than what I signed him for, which was 11 million. I mean, he's still got 3 years left on his current deal. He can just stay and be a backup forever. I mean, maybe if these are the kind of offers we get, maybe we don't get a goalkeeper. Maybe I do go and sign Phil Foden or someone else mental. I mean, Griezmann's a free agent. Would it be mad? I'd take Griezmann for a season just for his personality and his tutoring. I won't play him as a deep line forward, but we can make a fake promise. He wants £550,000 a week. You know what, Antoine? I'm going to pass. Come back to me in a month or 5. So a player who I was looking at like a month or 2 ago was Moriba. I've had my eye on him for a little while just because Leipzig missed out on European football last year. And I thought some of their players might kick up a stinker. If we look at their most recent season, they did finish second in the Bundesliga, so they bounced back well. Moriba, you can see here, is listed as their vice-captain. I think he had a release clause of 76 million. I don't actually know if that still exists. For some reason, our scout report on him has now expired. But if I just ask his agent, yeah, okay, so the release clause still exists of 76 million pounds. He's 21 years old. Would it be mad to sign him for that kind of money? You can see here, I made a bid of 75 million involving clauses, which they just rejected because it's not like the release clause up front, and I guess they value him more highly than his release clause. You know what? I'm going to trigger it, and we can think about it. According to his agent, he was only going to ask for between 100 and, I think it was like under £110,000. No idea if that's accurate. You can see the expectations here. I mean, if he is happy to be a squad player, that would be a really sick signing. He doesn't want to be a squad player. Could I just tell him he's going to be a regular starter? Do I want to spend 76 million on Moriba? I mean, he is absolutely world class and has a lot of potential. I mean, we do have Bellingham and Rice. It's a fair assessment, but I'm just thinking, as a bit of squad depth, as a plan B on off the bench, Moriba's quite good. I mean, he nor Bellingham are particularly defensive. In fact, Bellingham is probably the better defensive player, but Moriba is good. It's just a case of, I got Jude Bellingham for £104 million, £106 million. I can't remember the exact amount. Is Moriba worth it for 76? I mean, in my head, I'm thinking, probably not, but it would be fun. It would be fun. It's excellent logic. Right, he wants £160,000. I'll give you 120 and no yearly wage rise. Let's not be silly round here. 120, take it or leave it, Moriba. This negotiation is not... I think this might break down, but I don't want to go above 140k for a player who would largely be on the bench. Oh, you weren't meant to do that. You were just meant to reject it and not give me the option, the choice, the dilemma. I have no idea how he fits into the team. That is the minor issue. But I mean, he's quite good going forward, isn't he? And he's 21. I think I might have actually lost the plot. So some scout reports coming in on all those young international players. Some of them are good. Some of them are not so good. How good is Omer Fadul? I mean, he's interesting. He's 17 years old and Egyptian, but I don't think he's going to be worth it. Comment question of the day. At this moment in the video, I don't know what second we're at because I have to edit down the video, but whatever time we're at right now, pause the video, go down. What are you doing with our money? What would you be signing? Who should I be going for? Have I really lost the plot in just signing Moriba because I can? I realise, still not replaced Mykolenko, and I'm not sure Arian B is it. So maybe I should go and do that. Right, let's have a look. So I'm looking for a bit of a weird mix here. I'm looking for a player who is natural at centre-back, but competent at left wing-back. I mean, David Alaba's thrown up, as is Nacho. I'm not sure Nacho is the wide centre-back we're necessarily looking for, aged 34. Most of the players in this list are slightly older. Hermoso? He's not great. I'm basically looking for the left-footed Ben Godfrey. But I realise that Ben Godfrey's just a bit of a freak of nature, and looking for a left-sided version of him is probably going to be quite a fruitless task. So I changed up the filter slightly. I've gone to competent left wing-back, accomplished centre-back. Nuno Mendes has been thrown up. He's rubbish in the air. He'd be a very good backup. Again, it's too much money, isn't it? We're in this weird dilemma where, because I want to win the Premier League as soon as possible, I want to sign some ready-made players. Of course, when the series wraps up, whenever that might be, we will holiday forward to see how the Newcastle team I've built fares over a longer period of time. So there is that desire, I suppose, to have a longer project here. I just think the kind of player I'm looking for is kind of a weird one. It's quite a modern footballing role, isn't it? The left back who can play left centre-back and centre-back. I mean, Kieran Tierney? Kieran Tierney would actually be interesting because he has played centre-back for Scotland. Okay, his agent thinks he's going to be the asking price is going to be 48 to 60 million. A little bit concerned about his history with injuries, but if he was happy to be a squad player on similar money to he is now, I'd be quite happy. I'm going to try and sign him with instalments. We're going to go 25 million up front, 25 million. In fact, let's make it a round number. We'll go 30 million over 3 years at 10 million each. I mean, they've not thrown it out immediately, which is a promising sign. What about if I give you the 30 million up front and then 25 over a few years? I'm not 71 million is a bit too much, but Tierney is probably as good an option as you're going to get in terms of the kind of player we're looking for. He's not going to be happy to sit on the bench, is he? I feel like today's episode is a prime example of when you're in Football Manager and you're kind of looking for those marginal gains in players and you've got more money than you have sense, and so you're just kind of looking for a reason to spend money. I mean, we ended like last season with £50 million that I hadn't spent through the year, so I have been struggling to spend all the money. Additionally, with kind of Johansen now in the team, our current squad size is 26 players, so anyone I sign, probably looking to move a player on in some form to keep the squad number around the same size. The other thing with Tierney is he's not that young, like he's only a couple of years younger than the dinghy himself. So with that in mind, does it even really make sense to spend £60 million on him to look pretty on the bench? I mean, is Arian B a good enough backup? My head says no and my heart says no, so I think the answer's no. Some of you are probably sat at home right now thinking, well, why did you sell Mykolenko? You know what? I'm beginning to wonder the same thing. I thought 40 million was some pretty good money for him. I thought we could do better. Probably should have planned it before I sold him. I realise I've just completely ignored my scout suggestions. Who are my scouts suggesting? I mean, they want me to go and get Upamecano, who I've definitely pronounced his name incorrectly. I mean, he would be good. He'd be an upgrade on Tamori, I imagine, at the centre. I mean, Jack, what are you... I don't need more centre-backs, but he is quite good. Why is there so many centre-backs and nothing of anything else? I've just spotted here. Camavinga is unhappy at Real Madrid due to their failure to achieve the long-term common objective set. Should we just sign Camavinga? Can I afford Camavinga? I'll give you 50 million up front and then in instalments, I'll give you another 50 million. And if we make any profit, you can have 15% of it. They hate me. I'm looking through this list. There's not a whole host of talent sticking out. I mean, Wagnerman is good in Football Manager. He's not £50 million good, is he? Let's not be ridiculous here. I was just having a quick look through the players that are just in the world of football that we can attract sort of by ability. I have spotted Alfonso Davies down here. Now, would Alfonso Davies or Davy? Is it Davies? It's Davies. Davies would be if. Is it Davies or Davies? Alfonso Davies. I remember saying it wrong once, and the YouTube comment section came for me because I said it kind of the way it would be if it was an English name. It's Davies. I hope that's the right one. I can't remember. I'm glad there's no one holding like a revolver to my head because I would not know the answer under pressure. Right, it's Alfonso Davies, I've decided. He'd be fun, wouldn't he? I mean, he is an improvement on Luca Dingy as well. minus the whole set piece thing. I mean, he's quick, he's strong, he's technical, he's not as good in the air. And then Luca Dingy could be our backup left centre-back and left wing-back. And he's already listed as a squad player. We signed him for $6 million. He's not on a load of money. He's 30. Am I really talking myself into this being the play? You know what? I think I am. I'm going to offer them 50 million up front and then 25 million over a few years. They have counter-negotiated. How about just 75 million all up front? We're a little far apart here, Bayern Munich. I'll offer you 85 million. I'm thinking about the percentage of profit of next sale. What are the odds are that we sell him for more than 75 million? I feel like they're quite slim. They've locked in a mental deal that comes up to 162 million. Absolutely not. No. I will offer you 100 million. Take it or leave it. Oh, they're weighing it up. Oh, what? You've just added more in than we were. Right, attempt free. They said the upper transfer value was 108 million. I am not going higher than 108 million. 108. Take it or leave it. They've taken it. I think I might have lost the plot. I know what happens as well. When I sign a player like Davies for 108 million, one of you sends me a screenshot of your save game where you've signed him for 10 million and I look like an idiot. I just feel like he's a world-class left-back. I mean, he's not quite as good as Livramento, let's be real, but he's close. Okay, he makes Livramento look like a child. I think this is the correct thing to do. Maybe. Right, apparently he's going to want between 275 and 325k. That concerns me slightly. I'll go down to 225. No yearly wage rise. Get that out of there. Look, how much is he on at the moment? He's currently on 195. 225. Come on. 230. I'm being very reasonable here. I think I'm going to do it. Tim Kruller's retired. The whole plan of bringing him in to be homegrown last year didn't really work, did it? For people wondering about the Euros, England won it because they're overpowered in Football Manager. It's revenge for 2020. Do we say 20 or 21 it's revenge for in this context? Because the tournament was called Euro 2020, but it was in 2021. I don't know what the right answer is. Either way, they've won it. Well done. Origi, top goal scorer. Lukaku, runner-up. Belgium just whipping crosses into two tall forwards. It's just not fair. Ramsdale did get the most clean sheets and Livakovic came second. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe, am I really about to bid on Ramsdale? I'm seriously, he's just won the Euros. I'll be honest, negotiated this. They're not happy with it. Not sure we can even afford it, but we might as well just put a bid in on him, right? I've just remembered that Farias exists. He came back from his loan. He hasn't really developed, to be honest. I feel like we should maybe just try and offer him out, see if we can get any nibbles. I'll level with you. I don't think I've ever been so unsure of what I'm doing in a transfer window. Normally I have a pretty good idea, but our squad's just at this level where it's so good and the money's burning a hole in my pocket and I feel like we should be signing it or spending it on someone. And Fofana's got injured. That's a heart-in-mouth moment, isn't it? I feel like we're going to have a lot of these because he is just a slightly injury-prone player, although apparently scouting is in progress on whether or not he's injury-prone or not. Considering he's our own player, the fact we're having to scout him again is always mental. I've talked about this before. You scout a player, you find out everything about them, you then sign said player, and none of your coaching staff know about the player and all the pros and cons. You would think the scouts would share the knowledge with the coaches, but apparently that doesn't exist in Football Manager. He's injury-prone. I'm scared about it. Whenever we see the injury-prone stuff pop in, I'm going to think about the £95 million spent and hope that the injury isn't serious. The Ramsdale deal has been negotiated. They want 70 million. I'll give you 65 if I can afford it, which I'm not sure we can. Oh, okay. He wants to be a backup. This could be great. We can have Ramsdale and Livakovic both think that they're the backup, and then I don't have to overpay for either of them. What was the predicted amount? 145 to 180, and you think you're going to be a backup on that money? I'll go to 120 Ramsdale. We could have one of those rare scenarios where we don't have an outright number one, and we just let them battle to the death throughout the season. I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea, but in ice hockey it works. In ice hockey, you know, your second choice goalie plays maybe 30% of the games in a season. Maybe that's what we do here. We just have two good goalies. I say all of this. Not even sure we can afford them. I mean, should we just we're going to cancel the Moriba deal. That was silly. Can I afford these 2 deals? I think I can afford them if I shift some money back into the transfer budget. I think if we do that, we're going to end up massively over the wage budget, but we can sign them both. I feel like I'm just going to end up financially ruining the club that allegedly are the richest club in the world and can't be financially ruined. And I'm all for it. Also, Tomori wants a new contract. Like, we can't afford it right now. I'm struggling as things stand to afford the players I want to sign. Godfrey wants a new contract as well. Absolutely not. No, we don't have any money. We're poor. We've run out of money. I mean, Ramsdale is listed as a C. It'd be another English player for my English call that I keep talking about. I talked about it at the start of the video. I think he probably is a better signing than De Gea. Is that controversial? Let's have a quick comparison. I mean, I think he is, right? Please, someone just confirm that I'm making the right decision here. I think Ramsdale's very good in Football Manager. I think he's very good in real life. I'm a fan. I've decided he's the one. If we are going to sign a goalkeeper, if we can afford it. Okay, Ramsdale wants to sign. We're delaying it because I need to find out if Davies wants to join first. Am I really doing this? Alfonso Davies is the best left-back in Football Manager. He is the best left-back in Football Manager. He's 23. He's so quick, so good defensively, so good going forward. In our system as a complete wing-back, he'd be mad. The only real counter-argument I can come up with is the fact that obviously Luca had such a great game and great season last year. Obviously, we signed him for 6 million. He was never meant to be the long-term player. He's 31, so he's going to be getting on a bit. His legs are going to start to slow down, I think, and he's going to start to struggle for games in the next few years. I don't want to be too reliant on him forever. He can play centre-back, so we can transition him into playing wide centre-back, albeit without jumping reach. It's a really good backup left-back. And I guess another potential pro, if you want to describe it, is because we were so reliant on his set pieces this year, and set pieces in general in FM22 are quite strong. Like, the AI makes use of them as well, but there is an argument to suggest that in slightly kind of intentionally handicapping ourselves by not having a crazy set piece taker, we're going to have to encourage our team to play better open play football. I mean, he's been great this year, but he has been a bit of a set piece merchant, which has inflated his numbers. I wonder if I should just weigh up selling him for 45 million. I think I'm going to confirm the Davies deal. It's a lot of money, but he's a top quality player. I mean, he's so good. He's so good in Football Manager. I think 108 million isn't an astronomical amount of money to pay either for him. His pace is crazy. I think he's going to be a bit of a game changer for us in the wide areas. I'm a big fan. I just have to work out what I now want to do with the dinghy. Do we deflate him? Do we just, throw him in the trash, or do we keep him for a rainy day the next time we go to the beach? This analogy's gone way too deep, hasn't it? I mean, this as a team going into Season 4 is pretty formidable. Gvardiol, Tomori, Fofana, Livramento right back, Davies left back. We nailed it, everyone. Bellingham and Rice in the middle, Havertz at centre attacking mid, then Adeyemi and Calvert-Lewin up top. I mean, 4 new faces into the team, but some significant leaps in quality across the board. Gonna miss Musiala a little bit, but on the whole, I think we've done some pretty good business here, to be honest. I think now is a natural point to kind of wrap things up, just because this has been quite a long recording session already. I've and ahed a lot. I said it midway through. This has been one of the tougher transfer windows in terms of knowing what the right stuff to do is. There's probably a more optimal way I could have played my transfer strategy and stuff, but at the same time, I kind of want to have fun with this save game. This is one of the few times this year where I'm going to have £200 million to spend in a summer transfer window. I want to go bananas with it. I want to have some fun with it, and have some fun. I think we most certainly have. This is a team that if it doesn't win the Premier League, I am a failure. I am the worst player of Football Manager in the world. Our media prediction is apparently third. Davies and also Bellingham, the two players in the media dream 11 for us, which of course, considering they're the two new additions, makes me feel quite good about the players we've signed. But anyway, gang, we are going to wrap things up here for now. Let me know what you make of my transfer business. What would you have done in my scenario? This was a weird transfer window, a tricky one. If you got until the end of the video, also let me know in the comments what your favourite pizza is. You might think that's random. It's nice to know with these slightly longer videos how many people actually get to the end. So by letting me know your favourite pizza, that means that I know that you got to the end, or I suppose you could have just skipped to the end. Either way, let me know. De Gea's in the thumbnail holding a pizza. That's what I'm going to try and Photoshop together. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, and until next time, it is me, Jack, and I've spent a lot of money today. I hope I'm not going to regret it. I can't believe what we've done. I've lost the plot. I'll see you tomorrow.